All right, I'm Laura Ingraham. This is Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. Thanks for being with us. Kamala skips to 2024. That is the focus of tonight's angle. Now, frantically trying to shake off his lame duck status, Joe Biden's busy rallying support in the Senate. A headline in The Hill tells the story. Democratic senators say Biden not too old for a second term. Senators are trying to sound enthusiastic about the soon-to-be octogenarian. Now, one of Biden's closest allies on the Hill, Chris Coons, said, "I look forward to working hard for Joe Biden in 2024. Come on. And Bob Casey predicted he's going to be the nominee, and he's going to be strong. But they know what we know. Come on. There is no Joe-mentum out there. And as the whiff of political rigor mortis hovers over Biden, attention is already turning to the field of potential 2024 contenders. Now, first up, Kamala Harris. Now, if you're doing the pros and cons, the only real pro I can think of is that she knows her way around the West Wing, like where all the bathrooms are and stuff. Other than that, she's been a total bomb. They made her the de facto border chief, remember that? And what does she have to show for it? Since Biden took office, more than 3 million people have been encountered or apprehended entering the United States illegally from over 150 countries. Now, the vice president, of course, avoids the border subject altogether, refusing to address the huge uptick in the illegal border crossers and the number just over the last 6 months. Now, the numbers, by the way, are not slowing down. In the first 5 months of this year alone, more than 1 million people have been encountered or apprehended entering the country illegally. They total more than the individual populations of Delaware, South Dakota, North Dakota, Alaska, the District of Columbia, Vermont, and Wyoming. Well, at this point, how is this called anything but an ongoing invasion of the United States?
Historic numbers here, 239,416 illegal crossings. That is now the highest number in DHS history. There were 100,699 Title 42 expulsions, representing only about 42% of the total. And there were a staggering 14,699 unaccompanied children. That's up 21% over April.
Kamala Harris said about a year ago that extreme progress was being made at the border.
She's honestly useless. I don't know why she's in that position. She hasn't been here in South Texas to see what their policies are creating, the mess that they're creating in our country, and that their policies are hurting real people.
Now, our president and vice president and the incompetent radical they put in at DHS, they're all responsible for this. Now, in a sane world, this subversion of our sovereignty would be an impeachable offense. But in Kamala land, it's grounds for a promotion in 2024. And we haven't even touched on her extensive gaffes.
We have to have the ability to address the root causes of why people leave. Root causes are based on the problems and the challenges that people are facing.
Diplomatic tests turn political quicksand.
Her allies in the White House and elsewhere are watching it and just kind of wondering what is going on.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And
We're told that some of what she said on the trip, her answers to questions, maybe even obvious questions, those answers have White House insiders perplexed.
I am here, standing here on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank and our NATO allies.
Vice President Kamala Harris on a visit to Poland came under some criticism.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
And now, perhaps in an attempt to expand her impressive resume of failure, Kamala Harris is taking on yet another role, one that will do nothing to help the average American, but will burnish her left-wing bona fides. I give you Kamala Harris, information and surveillance czar.
We continue to see how some acts of mass violence have followed expressions of online hate and abuse. This task force, then, will tackle a threat that has been far too real for far too many people for far too long. It will lead to more evidence-informed policies and interventions.
Oh my God, is anyone more annoying than her delivery there? Now, the White House had time for this big rollout today of this new task force on online harassment and abuse, which you may be kind of quick to dismiss as just a warmed-over DHS disinformation board. Remember that kind of got disbanded? But that's not what's really going on here. Kamala comes with big guns, including the National Security Council, the White House Gender Policy Council, the Surgeon General, and even the DOJ is promising to get involved.
The Department of Justice is eager to take its role, take part in the critical work of this task force. We will publish an annual report on this information and all the information that we gather to further inform our enforcement efforts.
Now, this will include efforts to police language to effectively insulate political figures and journalists from disinformation, abuse, and harassment. So, Biden's DOJ refuses to investigate actual abuse and harassment of pro-life pregnancy centers all across the country, which is clear domestic terrorism, but they're pledging money and manpower to criminalize the expression of speech of their political opponents? And I have to ask this tonight. You heard Merrick Garland there. What actually constitutes abuse and harassment? Who makes that call? Now, to these people refusing to use, I don't know, someone's preferred gender pronouns, that would constitute a hate crime. Again, but actual acts of violence against their political opponents are downplayed or they're just ignored altogether.
Today's epidemic of hate, which is fueling violent acts against many communities, this is also American history. And we must teach it as it really happened. We can fight ignorance, dispel misinformation, and work toward a future where all people can live without fear.
Live without fear? What kind of utopia is she living in? Again, who gets to determine what is and what is not misinformation? That is not the government's role. The First Amendment isn't absolute. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. But it sure as heck protects political speech, absolutely. Hate only cuts one way in Kamala Town. So without fail, if the choice is between protecting our freedom and catering to anti-American fanatics in her own party, Kamala will always choose the latter. But lucky for us, the best way to ensure the failure of any task force is to put her at its helm. From her embarrassing on-camera performances to her glaring lack of intellect, Kamala would be a very, very risky bet for the Dems post-Biden. So no wonder so many in her party are already looking for an off-ramp to get another gadfly, Pete Buttigieg, in center stage. After all, both would be firsts. Would they end up canceling each other out? You got to wonder. And if so, wait, if they canceled each other out, would that mean what I think it would mean?
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's husband.
Yeah, in America's undoing. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.